listening to Booted Dudes, a podcast about Doomtown Reloaded. Today, the dudes will take a closer look at the There Comes a Reckoning Kickstarter running right now. If you are new to the game, feel free to skip to the 35-minute mark, where we will discuss possible points of entry for new Doomtown Reloaded players. Enjoy! Hello and welcome to episode 21 of the Booted Dudes. My name is Michael.
And my name is Hans.
So Hans, how booted are you today?
Quite booted, actually.
That is terribly surprising.
I went to a Playmobil fair on Sunday, like a Playmobil exhibition. I don't know if everybody knows Playmobil. It's like a toy, like Lego.
It's like Legos, but you build less.
Yeah, you build less and you have like...
And the scale is bigger.
Yeah, the scale is bigger. It's about...
So what is Playmobil? Is it 1 to 25?
Maybe, something like this. I don't know.
All right.
And how about you?
I am quite booted. I went swimming yesterday and into a sauna. That was very enjoyable.
Yeah.
And actually, although we are in Germany, there were almost no people doing sauna the German way.
What is sauna the German way?
That is completely covering up yourself with towels. So nobody can see.
Is it the German way?
Yes.
To cover everything up?
Yeah, that's very German.
Oh, yeah?
It's a German thing. German people use towels, and it's not what sauna is meant to be.
Okay, you just rolled the dice for our competition under the table.
Yeah, possibly.
Okay, so that was nice, was it?
Yeah, I enjoyed it very much.
Okay, so there's big news.
Yes, exciting times to live in the Doomtown Reloaded universe.
Yeah, re-reloaded universe.
It's a re-reloaded universe now.
So, because the Kickstarter has gone live.
So we are recording about 2 weeks before the Kickstarter There Comes a Reckoning is going to conclude. So we're quite in the middle of it.
Yeah, like about $100,000 in.
As of the time of recording, the Kickstarter has busted the $100,000 stretch goal.
That's pretty huge, is it?
That's a lot of money. And I'm surprised, like, how many backers have there been on the Kickstarter? Like 700?
Yeah, last time we checked.
So it's probably a few more now.
Yeah.
That's a lot of people. I didn't know, I honestly didn't know that so many people are playing Doomtown Reloaded.
No.
Or at least collecting Doomtown Reloaded.
Yeah. Big difference.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I was wondering, I had no idea how far it will go. Maybe it reaches like 150,000, do you think? Because a guy who is doing Kickstarters regularly said that in the end, there's always some kind of rush. Because they put it on their mobile phone that they get a message when the Kickstarter ends, and then they are pledging in the last minute or something like that.
Yeah, there's actually curiously accurate statistical analysis of Kickstarter projects. So when a Kickstarter project goes live, you can check every day what the projected end amount of money is going to be.
Okay.
And those sites that analyze Kickstarters for you, they take into account all of these effects that people are mostly going to back on the last day, or a lot of people are going to back on the first day naturally.
Okay.
I haven't checked those, but we could actually find out what the computer thinks will be the final amount pledged for this Kickstarter.
But 100,000 euros, that's much, is it? Or you have done several Kickstarters?
Well, it's quite big. You make a lot more money when you make these giant plastic-filled board games like Zombicide. Those usually crack the 1 million mark.
Okay.
But that's because what you pledge for is a lot more expensive in the first place.
Yeah.
And
it's just an expansion for a game.
Yeah. I think that's quite an achievement for the game to draw in so much attention with the Kickstarter. And as we are going to discuss later, it is a Kickstarter both for seasoned Doomtown players as well as a relatively good point of entry for new interested gamers.
But I think with only the old folks, you wouldn't reach 100,000. No, because the pledge goals are rather low price.
Yeah.
So they for 100,000, if everybody had the deputy level, we will come to that later. They would never reach 100,000. So that there must be a lot of new players.
Yeah.
Buying like the big pledges.
I think so. And also there is for a Kickstarter relatively few add-ons you can buy. You know, apart from all the cards that have been released so far, but we're going to talk about that. You know, in Kickstarters, usually a lot of money is generated by new add-ons being released every few days of the project.
Okay.
So everybody who already pledged can spend another $10 for something, you know.
Okay.
People have the maddest ideas, like more plastic miniatures or a neoprene mat of something that you usually get, or component upgrades.
Or more plastic miniatures.
So it's usually, that's how games break these very, very high number margins.
Okay.
Because everybody who already spent $150 can now spend $50 more if they want to. And actually most people want to spend more money. It's interesting.
It would be, with Doomtown, it would be if they suddenly say, okay, there's a second expansion. 100 new cards. And everybody would, I think, immediately say, okay, $25 more or $50 more.
I think so.
Problem.
Our dream of 100 new cards might yet come true, Hans.
Maybe it's a secret. It's a secret thing.
Maybe we inspired them to design 100 cards.
In the last 2 days. That wouldn't be a good idea, I think.
No. Just so people know whether they should keep listening to this episode or maybe skip it. Because, you know, how relevant is this? First of all...
Very relevant.
Of course. But we are going to try and be a comprehensive buyer's guide. So we're going to start very, very low key for people who don't really know what a Kickstarter is.
Like me.
Like you, for example. So we're going to, you know, just talk about some basic facts of Kickstarting stuff. But then we also want to take a more detailed look at the different pledge levels and the considerations you might have when deciding what is the correct pledge level for you. Because I think some people might still not be 100% sure what is the right pledge level, because I took you as an example.
I mispledged.
You mispledged. Yes, and we're going to stop that. Don't mispledge, guys.
Yeah, nobody should mispledge.
No.
But we will come to that. So, because I think there are some pitfalls.
There are some pitfalls in this Kickstarter, as are in every Kickstarter. Actually.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's what we're going to talk about. So if you are a person from the future and the Kickstarter has already concluded, do you think they should keep listening to our episode?
Yes.
Do you have any reason for that?
No.
Okay. So if you listen to this well after the Kickstarter and you don't simply enjoy us, you know, just the sound of our voices.
Yeah, it's more an historical side note.
Yeah. But first, Hans, we owe something to our listeners.
Yeah. There was a contest.
There was a contest. And we are going to introduce a new segment to our podcast where we try and incorporate what our listeners have to say about Doomtown Reloaded. Because I think most of the time they have to say smarter things than we do.
Maybe, yeah.
So why not give them a voice? We'll call this Tales from the Epitaph.
Tales from the Epitaph. Somehow I know the title.
I don't know it, actually. I don't think... You know, I'm pretty sure the Kickstarter is named There Will Be a Reckoning.
There Comes a Reckoning.
See? So, no Tales from the Epitaph there.
Okay.
I think that's a genuine name that we just came up with. All right. So, 11 people entered our contest to answer who is your favorite servitor and why. And we are going to throw a random die that I've already thrown under the table earlier.
But we will look a little bit later under the table to see what the result is.
Yeah. To decide who of these 11 people will receive a complete Deadlands Dice Bag with dice that we have held in our own hands.
And there's one orange dice.
Yeah, the D6. Because this dice bag is also important for Deadlands Reloaded. And in Deadlands Reloaded, every important character and all the player characters, of course, are important characters,
gets an additional d6 to roll every time he does something.
Okay.
So I think that's why it looks so special. And I also think the d6 has something special to do in Deadlands Classic, but I haven't yet gotten to read the rules of that game.
Okay.
But we'll see. On to the Tales from the Epitaph. I'll start. Michael Seigler wrote,
Gotta go with Raven. I've always loved playing offensively, and he's perhaps a tad aggressive.
Anything to say about that?
He is.
He is, pretty much.
He's like a Sloan gang servitor.
What exactly does he do again? He gives you a control point when you contest enemy deeds.
Yeah, basically.
And you get extra bullets when you are already ahead in bullets. No, that's not the thing. If you aren't ahead in bullets, you lose bullets.
Yeah. And you get an extra control point during sundown if you control equal or more in-town deeds.
From your opponent.
Yeah. So it's, if you're aggressive,
you get rewarded.
Yeah.
And you get bullet bonuses.
This is like a rush card?
Yeah, very much. Yeah, it's gonna be a really fun thing in Protection Racket, where you are already incentivized to put your dudes on your opponent's deeds.
But always the problem with Deadlands, the opponent has to play deeds. Okay, so now it's my turn. Joe James wrote,
Grimmel for sure. I love splashing various utility spells and he has no shootout restrictions.
Okay, so Reverend Grimm is the guy who gives you spells. You get penalized if you have multiple copies of the same spell. So he kind of incentivizes having a toolkit of different spells.
Yeah.
Which I think is especially interesting for Blessed, because Blessed have so many janky utility spells like Confession, Consecration, Dumbstruck, Fiery Rhetoric, Holy Roller, everything. So you kind of have to play a lot of different spells, otherwise they get very expensive with him, because you need to pay extra for every copy of a spell already in play.
Isn't there an outfit which gives you bonuses if you have a spell?
Yeah, Abraham's Crusaders.
Yeah, so just for having spells, just any spell, it's a bonus.
That's right. Yeah, and you can kind of tutor, because you can mill the top 5 cards and look at spells. Which is really good, because it's one of my favorite grifter effects. The Eagle Wardens have a grifter that lets you look at the top 5 cards. And if there is a spell in those top 5 cards, you can exchange it with your starting hand.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I've always found this to be very powerful, because the chances are really high, if you play a deck with a lot of spells, that you are going to hit with 5 cards.
Yeah.
And so I think this is going to be very strong for mostly miracles, but maybe also hexes. But do you really want a lot of different hexes in your deck?
I don't know. I haven't seen a deck like this, but could be. What about
Jason York wrote,
Hellstrom. Love gadget weapons and control.
True that.
Yeah, if you love gadget, you love Hellstrom.
Yeah.
Mark Geisler wrote,
Grim, because I loves me the tutoring cards.
Okay.
Yeah. In Doomtown, it's a lot harder to tutor. There's a lot of effects that let you grab stuff from your discard pile, which is essentially strong tutoring.
But there hasn't been so much tutoring.
It's not a lot.
Yeah. And you have so few cards, so that's why the effects are rather strong, I guess.
Yeah. Nate Leuthold wrote,
Grim all the way. As Mark mentioned, tutoring is the best.
Nate, you're spot on.
Henry Jones wrote,
Stone.
Smiley face.
Benny Big Ulbrink wrote,
Grim.
no smiley face.
You can't always be smiling, you know.
Douglas A. Yarn wrote,
Jasper Stone. Structuring a deck around single gunslingers is very intriguing.
Voltron decks.
Yeah, very much. Very much so. This is a deck archetype that hasn't really been seen a lot. Very early, you had this janky Mario Crane deck that basically couldn't lose a shootout because you never cheated, and he couldn't be chosen as a casualty.
And decks with the first sheriff.
Oh, yeah.
That were really Voltron decks. They tried to play on Deadman's Hand. There was a podcast about it. Deadman's Hand, and how was the sheriff called?
Dave Montreal.
Yeah, Dave Montreal decks.
Mm-hmm.
So, we'll have to look into that.
Yeah, but we haven't really seen it because I think in Doomtown, effects that remove a single dude from a shootout are very common.
Yeah.
With pistol whips, I don't know, paralysis marks.
Yeah.
Sun in your eyes.
Yeah. So you have to really protect your dude.
You have to protect them. I think if you build a stone deck, I don't know, maybe you need some kind of way to mitigate that. Like Blesseds have, like when they use Dumbstruck or Holy Roller, I think sometimes they can't be booted anymore.
Yeah,
or Young's Mechanical Skeleton.
Or Petro.
Or Petro.
So you can't be moved.
Brandon Smith wrote,
Hellstrom for sure. Build those Quatermen.
That is a man after my own heart.
Yeah, so maybe there's a Quaterman deck viable.
And also, I recently found again Postatron. Nobody has ever played Postatron. It's a gadget dude you can put in your starting posse. It's really funny. So yeah, I'm also very much looking forward to that. So thanks for the comment, Brandon.
William Segletis wrote,
I am looking forward to Darius Hellstrom, Morgan Gadgetorium with William Specs and Kyle Wagner, the gadgets we will invent.
Man, that takes me back. All of my decks used to have
Kyle Wagner and William Specs.
Yeah, in the starting posse. It was the great time for Doomtown Reloaded. And last but not least, Sean Doombringer Burrows. I'm not sure that is his actual name. Wrote,
Jasper Stone. Point the first, because you can use your shooter as the spearhead in front of an army of Harrowed, which seems thematic to me. And point the second, he looks like Mick Mars from Motley Crue, which, considering Mick Mars might actually be from the 1800s, also seems thematic to me.
Do you have anything to say about the Motley Crue reference?
No.
Because I don't really know how those guys look, so we need to Google that later.
Yeah.
But I know that Motley Crue always were striking a very similar vein to Motorhead.
Is it?
Yeah, I think Motorhead and Motley Crue are the most famous heroin-fueled rock bands on the planet.
I hope we are not getting death threats.
Well, we'll see. Yeah, from devoted Motley Crue fans.
Yeah.
But if Mick Mars looks anything like Lemmy Kilminster looked, then he's going to look like a cowboy.
And like Jasper Stone.
Yeah. Yeah. Rockstars do seem very Harrowed most of the time.
Yeah, they are Harrowed.
Yeah.
They're like the prototype of Harrowed. Living a Harrowed life. Okay, let's go on. So what does the dice say under the table?
The dice says it's a 10. So the 10th comment, that's William Segletis. Or Segletis. So congratulations, William. Sorry to everybody whose names we have butchered.
Yeah, definitely.
And if you ever feel like having your comments spoken out in a thick German accent, then please do write in the next time we give away a prize and become part of the next Tales from the Epitaph segment.
Yeah.
Man, that was exhilarating.
I think he should write us his address.
Oh, yes, of course. So, William, we will get into touch with you. And if you listen to this and we haven't yet gotten in touch with you, then feel free to send us a message and we'll work out all the details of the shipping and so forth. On to our main topic.
The Kickstarter.
So, Hans, there comes a reckoning of our wallets.
Of your wallet.
Yeah.
Because I mispledged.
Yeah. So to avoid other people making the same mistakes that have happened here in our Booted Dudes headquarters, I think we should talk a little about what a Kickstarter is. Because I assume a lot of people who play board games are familiar with it, but not everybody.
I think maybe everybody has heard of it, but I don't think everybody pledged in a kind of Kickstarter.
Okay, so the basic idea is that a Kickstarter project stays on air for a specific amount of time. Usually it's 30 days. During this time period, you can pledge a specific amount of money to get a specific reward. And there's usually different reward tiers that you can pledge for. What do you need to partake in a Kickstarter? You do need a functioning credit card. There is there is no option to use PayPal or just send the funds on some other way. You need a credit card.
Okay.
And if you have one of those, then you can just pledge and you won't immediately be charged, but the money will be taken from your bank account by Kickstarter the moment that the campaign has successfully been funded, after the 30 days have run out. What you do at the moment when you pledge, though, in this Kickstarter is the shipping cost. That is very different in different Kickstarters. On some, you pay the shipping when the stuff actually gets shipped, months after the Kickstarter has ended.
Okay.
But sometimes, like here, you just add the country where you live when you are pledging, and then Kickstarter will find out how much money you'll have to spend for shipping.
I've seen those badges, like European-friendly Kickstarter or US-American friendly Kickstarter, or that the shipping cost is not that high.
Yeah.
It means that, or?
It means that. And also, I think it should mean that you don't really have to pay VAT and taxes again.
Okay.
But not always, I think.
Okay.
It's something that you should really read about in the Kickstarters you pledge for, because otherwise you can sometimes lose a lot of money.
Because they said there are fulfillment centers in Europe. So if you send it from Europe to Europe, there wouldn't be any taxes.
That's right.
Oh, okay.
And actually there is a fulfillment center in Germany, so there will be no problems with import for us, at least.
Okay.
Okay, so when can we expect the stuff from this Kickstarter? There is two things that you get. There is some digital rewards, like all the scans of the new cards, in case you want to proxy them, and the PDFs of the new rulebook and the various other print products that are part of this Kickstarter. And you're going to receive these very soon after the Kickstarter campaign has ended.
I think they said March.
Yeah, but
2018.
Yeah, but not the PDFs.
No.
So the PDFs
cards
you get immediately, and then the physical content that will arrive around March next year. But usually with those things, because it's a very long process, from the printers in China to the ports, and then sometimes ships get stuck in ports for weeks. So usually it's good to be patient. So sometimes it just takes a lot longer.
Oh, okay. So have you experienced that it takes a lot longer?
Oh, yes. Oh, have I?
How much longer?
I think about a year I have had once.
Okay. One question I have about Kickstarters, because, there's a hype, like you're with your
Kingdom Death Monster.
Kingdom Death Monster.
Oh, boy.
There's a hype, and then the hype is over. But then you have to pay for it. And the hype train has rolled off. Then you get it like 1 year later, and you're not hyped anymore, and you just get the big stuff, and you're like, maybe I sell it on eBay, or?
Yeah, that can happen. I've had this because I once pledged on a Zombicide Kickstarter.
Okay.
And when it arrived, I was so cooled down from the whole thing that I just sold it immediately. And it was I actually got all my money back, which is kind of funky.
Okay.
But that's the thing. So since that Zombicide experience, I have been very careful what I pledge for, except Kingdom Death Monster.
Very careful.
Yeah, but I'm still very hyped for Kingdom Death Monster.
Okay,
I already
that's
have a
good.
group for Kingdom Death Monster, actually.
Okay.
As soon as it arrives, we're going to start playing, and everybody is really hyped.
You have done well.
Well, that's not what my credit card provider says.
Okay.
There is these different pledge tiers, and we're going to talk about them. But then also, apart from the tier that you pledge for, you can also usually add on stuff. And in this Kickstarter, like in most Kickstarters, you add on stuff by just increasing your pledge. So there is a button on the Kickstarter page somewhere saying manage your pledge, and then you can edit the dollar amount.
Okay.
And that's what you want to do. So on the page, it says, for example, there's these Cackler Jokers that you can get for $6. If you're interested in those, you just manage your amount and you just add $6 more to your total pledge.
And
without changing the pledge level.
And how do they know that you want the Cackler Jokers and not, let's say, a Doomtown trinket for $6, which they might also have?
They don't know that until you usually fill out a survey. After most Kickstarters, there's a survey, which is a link to a website that is basically like an inbuilt shop system.
Okay.
The survey will tell you still have $6 credit apart from your pledge, what do you want to add on? And then you just have drop-down menus where you specify what exactly you want.
Ah, okay.
So I assume with a Kickstarter as big as this one, it's going to be a survey. When it's a really small Kickstarter, it could just be that you get an email that says, oh, please respond to this email and tell us what you want. But they're not going to do this with so many people, I think. And the last question I have on my list here is, when should you pledge? Should you pledge now, or should you pledge a day before it ends?
It doesn't matter, does it?
It doesn't really matter. That's right. Well, it can be a question of taste. If you want to make sure that you are absolutely happy with what you get, and you only want to pledge if there is a certain stretch goal maybe met.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
Then you can pledge on the last day, and you will know very exactly what you get for this.
Ah, okay.
But if you pledge earlier, you can always cancel before the month runs out.
Ah, you can?
You can. Whenever you want to, you can just drop your pledge. And also, for some people like me, it can also be a fun journey to follow a Kickstarter. Because once you've pledged, you are usually going to receive all the update emails. Mm-hmm. So every 2 or 3 days, you'll get an email from this Kickstarter with a new update, what stretch goals have been hit or what new things have been added on to the project. So it can be a very nice thing, just to read an email every few days about how your project is going along.
But the problem with the last day pledge, I don't get it, because even if you just want to know what you're actually getting because of the stretch goal, it doesn't really make any sense to do it on the last day, because you are not working towards the goal, You should pledge, and if it's not reached, you should unpledge. If you say you can just unpledge. Yeah,
that you can do that. But I think that is a very dangerous psychological area because, for example, I don't want to bash anybody, because I think everybody who is happy with what they pledged for, that's totally good by me. But in a few Kickstarters that I won't name, I have seen this kind of mentality given to the people who pledge by the creators of the project. Like, come on, guys, you can do it. Just $10,000 more and you can get all of this additional stuff. So just add some more add-ons and we're all going to be fine. And I've seen people happily throwing their money to buy double or triple plastic miniature sets just to increase the total amount pledged. And I think that is kind of iffy for me. So it's cool if you just pledge on the last day, even if you didn't contribute to the stretch goals then earlier, because this mentality of if I spend more, I will get more. It's kind of, it's a very, I don't know.
I think it's part of the success.
Yeah. Oh yes, of course.
It's definitely part of the success that you have this kind of, like, how do you say, like a snowballing effect.
Oh yes, it very much is.
But I think it's not the case here.
No, I think it is a very humane and friendly Kickstarter. It doesn't seem to me like people are trying to maximize the amount of money gotten from the people. Although I wish to them all of the success in the world.
Yeah, definitely. But it's not like they are like hammering it home on us or something.
Because, there's Kickstarters that add new add-ons every day. Because some people will just buy everything you put there, no matter what it costs. That's, it's interesting. Okay, so just imagine you are a returning or new aspiring Doomtown Reloaded player and you don't really know what to pledge for. There is a lot of different pledge levels in this one. And I think, unlike in a lot of other Kickstarters, most of the time it's going to be very clear which one is the right one for you.
Yeah, most of the time.
Most of the time. So let's work our way up from the cheap ones to the more expensive ones to find out for whom all of these pledge levels are. So if you spend $15 or more, you will only get PDF copies of the digital rewards. So that means you're going to get the new rulebook, which I think is not a big argument because the new rulebook should be online for free anyway, probably in the future. But you will also get a PDF of the new source book for the Deadlands role-playing game. Sorry, you're going to get one comic that plays in the Deadlands universe. And you're going to receive a Deadlands Reloaded adventure as well as a PDF.
Okay.
And the new cards, of course, as a PDF. So if you just want to print them and proxy them, that's your pledge level.
I think it's the pledge level for the role players, is it?
Yeah. very much. If you don't play the game, but you do like Deadlands and Deadlands Reloaded, then this is probably a solid level to pledge, because you won't get any card stock that you're not going to use. So, next level, $25. You're going to be a deputy. The deputy level includes all of the new cards and some of the stretch goals, but not all of them.
Mm. There's a little D marked for deputy in the stretch goals.
Yeah.
Which you get.
So what you do get is the comic as well. You're going to get the Showstopper Adventure book as a PDF, and you're going to get the fiction compilation, The Plague Carnival, which is basically the stories that have been uploaded during the first cycle of Doomtown Reloaded. The whole story about the Fourth Ring Circus.
Ah, okay. Mm-hmm.
Also, you're going to get the new rulebook as a PDF and the source book as a PDF. Let's see what you don't get by saying what you get when you pledge as a sheriff. As a sheriff, you also get the new cards, and also you get the trunk, which we have extensively talked about on our last podcast. Another goodie you will get as a sheriff is the Weird West playmat, which I think looks great.
Yeah, I think that's cool.
That's a really nice thing. And all of the stuff that we talked about, some of the stuff that we talked about as PDFs before, you will also get in print.
Okay.
So that is going to be true for the Deadlands sourcebook and for the new rulebook. So you are going to have an updated Doomtown Reloaded rulebook in full color print. So one more thing you get with the sheriff level that you don't get with the deputy level are alt art cards and errata cards. The alt arts are going to be 4 of each: Pistol Whip, Pony Express, Circle M-Wrench, The Stakes Just Rose, One Good Turn, Carter's Bounties, and if this stretch goal is going to be unlocked, also Soul Blast and Stephen Wiles. So to make this clear for people new to the game or who haven't been to tournaments, these cards have all been released before as alt arts.
In tournaments.
Yeah. If you play Doomtown actively, you will already have a few or maybe even all of these. But I, for one, don't have full playsets of all of them, so I'm happy to receive them.
Yeah. And I think the thing for Doomtown players, and that's why I mispledged, is the errata cards.
Yeah.
Because you only get the errata cards with the sheriff level.
That's true.
And I think that's an important point.
I think so too.
And also I think, which adds value, is the playmat.
Yeah.
So I don't know about the trunk.
Well, I think that's a question of taste. I store all my Doomtown cards in binders, so I'm not really going to use the trunk that much.
I'm storing them in the
core box.
Yeah, which is really cool. It's like the best core box of all card games.
I don't mean to be cynical, but I think the one card game that doesn't need a trunk is Doomtown Reloaded. It has a great core box.
It has trunks.
It has trunks, right? Yeah. But it's still good to have a trunk because it's kind of future-proofed. Because, it's a lot bigger. So even if the card pool grows, you don't have to get out your second core box.
I already got it out, and they are both full.
See?
Yeah.
So you need a trunk.
Maybe. I think I will repledge.
Just for a quick listing, the erratat cards that you will get as a sheriff are Henry Moran, Nathan Shane, Dave Slim Gorman, and then also, this is a stretch goal that hasn't been met yet, but if it will be met, you also get The Undertaker, Mugging, and No Turning Back as erratas. So up until this point, those have all been pledges for people that already play Doomtown Reloaded. So if you are already a player, you will want to decide between one of these pledges.
Do you know what a cool stretch goal would be?
Getting all the stuff when you're a deputy?
No, like a new outfit for the 108 Bandits.
Getting a new outfit for the band one would be an interesting thing. Yeah, but I think
it's too difficult.
It's very difficult. And they have said that they are going to release a new outfit as soon as an opportunity arises when they print new cards.
But not this time.
I don't think they meant this time by that.
Okay.
But I'm not exactly sure. We'll see. Maybe it's the last day stretch goal. Get another not broken 108 outfit.
So everybody will buy 2 sheriffs or what?
Yeah.
That would be cool. 2 trunks.
Yeah, those are the levels. I think most of the people will actually want the sheriff pledge because the erratas are just so nice to have.
They are.
Also, having a full set of alt arts for so many different cards is also a nice thing. Mm-hmm. It's an interesting decision because, when you played a lot of tournaments, having those alt art cards is also a thing of pride. And now that everybody can get them, they're going to feel a bit less like an achievement. But you still have those memories. Nobody can take the memories from you. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, that might be right, because you have fought for them and now you just buy them.
But it's nice.
I think it's okay for them to give them away. Maybe they have like a bunch of them. Or do you think they will be reprinted? No. They have still. I think they might just have
the stock, yeah. Okay, so those are the things to consider if you already play Doomtown Reloaded. If you are new to the game, there are 2 pledges that you might consider.
Mm-hmm.
The first of them is the $75 level called Marshal, which gives you everything the Sheriff reward has, plus you get 1 core set of the game.
For $25.
Yeah, that's a discount price.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
That's a nice price. I think in our last segment, we're going to give the marshals for this Kickstarter some advice, because of course you can just stick with that, but maybe if you want to spend a little bit more money, you could think about getting a few of the packs.
Yeah, you should.
Mm-hmm.
Because I wonder how the new cards interact with just the core set. That would be difficult, would it?
Yeah, probably. If you want to maybe get into the game but not spend all of the money, you could get a Marshal pledge and then just add a few of the saddlebags that interest you.
Mm-hmm.
And we are going to give you a few hints what saddlebags might be important for a new player.
Yeah.
Those with staple cards in them. Or, if you're feeling generous, you could just hit the motherload for $250. And this is going to give you everything we've talked about before. But instead of just the core set, you get the core set, I think, 2 times. And every card that has ever been released. So you get the whole catalog of Doomtown Reloaded cards, basically. Plus free shipping in the US.
Plus?
I don't know.
The full bleed servitors?
Oh, no, those you get for the early bird motherloads. Those are all gone.
Okay, that would be cool.
Oh, that's another thing about Kickstarters. Because people can drop pledges at any time, it is possible that one of these early bird things will get available again. Oh, so what is an early bird pledge? It's a limited pledge that I think only, 150 or 200 people in this case can take.
Mm-hmm.
And once they've taken it, it's not available anymore. And that's the case at the moment. But especially when the Kickstarter comes to a close on the last day, it can be a good idea to recheck the page a couple times, because sometimes one of the people will drop out in the last moment because they don't have the money or something. And then you can get those early bird pledges again.
Okay.
So this, for the same price, will give you the Motherload pledge and 4 full bleed servitor cards, and the core set will be embossed. If you're new to the game and you have $250 to spare, I think that is possibly the cheapest way to get up and running with all the cards.
Definitely. I think it's a bargain.
Yeah.
For so many packs and pine boxes, $250 is nothing.
And you get it all in one big swing, so not a lot of shipping hassles and everything.
Yeah.
But for those people who really want to get into the game but don't have $250 to spare, we'll give you just some tips on what saddlebags and what pine boxes might be the first to buy.
Mm-hmm. Basically, we decided on 3 saddlebags. The first one is double dealings.
So what does these 3 saddlebags, what's their deal? Why are they the first ones you should get?
Because they include cards which you might use in many decks. Mm-hmm. Might be even most of the decks.
Okay.
So they're utility cards which you just need. For example, the double dealings I just mentioned. Mm-hmm. There's like the card, it's not what you know. Mm-hmm. It's a really good cheating solution. And there's to mention Angelica Espinosa. Mm-hmm. I think she can be used in any deck.
Yeah, she is a 0 influence dude. So there's no penalty for using her in other factions.
Although she's already dead.
Most of the people are. Okay, so I think with double dealing, you get probably the most powerful cheating resolution in the game, apart from Coach Whipped, which is in the core set. Anyway.
Yeah, definitely, yeah.
So no matter what your deck archetype is, it's always a consideration to include. It's not what you know.
If you're using queens. The next one would be Election Day Slaughter, because I think this is a staple in most of the decks. Yeah. It's Jack Smiley.
What's Jake Smiley's deal? Why is he so popular?
He has 2 influences in this during the sundown phase. So basically he's like a very cheap 2 influence guy and pretty powerful actually. And okay, there's also your like beloved Quaterman in it.
Yes.
So
guys,
for anybody who really wants to go to town with Hellstrom, you have to buy the Election Day Slaughter Pack.
Yeah, I think everybody should get the Election Day Slaughter Pack. You know what? Even if you have all the cards, just buy Election Day Slaughter again, so you can have 8 Quartermen in your home.
Quarterman army. And the last but not least, there's Frontier Justice. It has Flight of the Lepers, which is also really powerful cheating resolution. And I think with the core set, there were many decks where actually jacks are played.
Yeah, the jack is a strong value in the core set because you have Jackson Strike from the get-go. Which is a very important deed for Ghost Rock generation.
So that would fit in there pretty well. I think Queens, like with It's Not What You Know, was quite powerful in the beginning too.
Yeah.
Like Queens and Jacks. So Fancy New Head is also in Frontier Justice.
Yeah.
It's King. And I think King was powerful too. Huh?
Yeah,
was
King has Point Blank. Yeah, those are the saddlebags that will give you a boost to your influence, which basically is your chance of survival in the early game, and will give you strong cheating resolutions, which is also very important to have in any case, no matter what your deck archetype is.
Yeah, because in the when you start playing Doomtown, I think you don't realize that the cheating resolutions is actually a mechanic which like tries to keep the balance of the game. Because if you don't do the cheating resolution stuff in your deck, good shooter decks will just outshoot you, and you are wondering, what am I doing wrong? Because like the opponent has always 5 of a kind or 4 of a kind, and you won't stand a chance.
Yeah,
and with those, you really stand a chance. So I think that's why they are that important for new players.
All right. So if you're new to the game, those 3 packs are, I think, your go-to. So you can start building decks that are a bit more competitive than just the core set. Then after that, I think everything comes down to taste and your preferences. So if you feel like adding new factions to the game and you like the idea of playing Native Americans or Kung Fu artists, then you will want to take a look at Immovable Object, Unstoppable Force. If you're like me and you just want to play gadgets all day long, then I highly suggest getting the Bad Medicine saddlebag because it includes Luke the Errand Boy, which is a cheap dude that makes inventing and moving around gadgets a lot easier and a lot faster. Also in this pack, you will get Willa Mae McGowan, which is also a popular starting dude because she is your I'm gonna get out of here button in a shootout that goes very wrong. Yeah. Which is something that will happen when you are an inexperienced Doomtown player a lot. And there is Young's Mechanical Skeleton in there. So what's not to like about the saddlebag? Anything else? Oh, you like the Showstopper, I think.
Yeah, because of Pedro.
Yeah.
And calling the cavalry.
So if you want to have a horse deck, getting Showstopper is a good idea.
And plus you have to get Dirty Deeds because there's Morgan Stables in it.
Oh yeah. Dirty Deeds is also good for gadget-oriented people because you get a slight modification, which is a very unique card in the Doomtown Reloaded game because it's the only card that you have that allows you to cancel another card effect. And it's mechanically directly linked to playing gadgets, so you can only use it in gadget decks.
But it's pretty powerful.
It's really powerful. If you like the idea of playing blessed characters, like basically priests that can do stuff, then you will want to get the Pine Box Faith and Fear, which introduces the whole blessed thing. And it also has another one of the more popular cheating resolutions, This Will Hurt in the Morning, which is also just nice to have in a lot of decks.
But maybe you should not start with Blast in the beginning, huh?
Well, if you like winning games, you shouldn't.
Okay, you can say it like that. But if you like just blessed people, it's okay.
Yeah. So that's it. That's our comprehensive bias guide. And
wait, if you like to bring swords to a gunfight, you should play blessed.
Definitely. Okay, so that's it. So everybody, we hope you now know what's your correct pledge level, and we hope you're all as excited as we are here. Because I am extremely excited about those cards arriving and the source book. Anything else you want to say?
I think that's it.
All right. So everybody have a great day.
And good night.
Good night.
Thank you for listening to this podcast. You can send in your questions, feedback, or comments to booteddudes@gmail.com or on facebook.com/booteddudes, all in one word. Music used with kind permission from Wellbad. You can find them at wellbad.de or facebook.com/wellbadmusic. Please, if you like this podcast, consider writing a review with text or just the stars, because it helps other people who are looking for podcasts about Doomtown Reloaded find us on iTunes.